Jessica Bravort, and this is Kitchen Table Productions, a show devoted to low-carb living. Now, I am proud to announce that I have finally cracked the cranberry sauce code. Cranberry sauce has always been something very hard for low-carbers. Cranberries themselves are very tart, and usually the sugar kind of dulls that tartness. And you didn't get that same dulling quality just from using sugar-free sweeteners. So I've tried various things over the years to kind of dull that down a bit, and nothing has worked until now. I've finally found the trick to make a great low-carb cranberry sauce that isn't too overloaded with sugar-free sweeteners. It isn't too tart. It's wonderful and delicious, and I know I'm going to be slathering this all over my turkey this Thanksgiving because I'm one of those weirdos who prefers cranberry sauce on my turkey instead of gravy. I'll save the gravy for the mashed cauliflower, but this is wonderful. I'll show you how to make it now. Let's get started. Okay, now the first step is going to be washing and sorting our cranberries. I've got one plain package of cranberries. I'm sure you've all seen cranberries before. If you have any interest in this. Now I'm going to want to sort these. Now, as you go through these, you'll see some are nice and hard. Those are the ones you want to keep. You might be finding one that isn't. And sometimes you'll get one that's a little mushy. Those are the ones you don't want. Oh, there we go. This one's kind of going weird colored brown, and it's kind of mushy and squishy. That's the kind you don't want, so I'm going to throw that in my discard pile. And that's all the cranberries I have left with, which is most of the package. It's actually a good package. I'm going to add to this 1 cup of water. Right on in, and we're going to move over to the stove. Right, here's my cranberries in their pot with their water over high heat, and we're going to bring it up to a boil. Alright, they're boiling quite a bit now, and they're starting to pop. See how it's kind of, there's that line there, and this one, these have all popped open. Now this is boiling. I'm going to turn the heat down to medium and let this boil, just like this, maybe stirring occasionally, for 10 minutes. See how some of these are nice and broken open? Look at that one. Ooh. There we go. Alright. It's been 10 minutes. My cranberries are nice and thick. I'm going to take them off. And while they're still warm, I am going to push this through a sieve. So let's go do that. Alright. Here's my bowl. And my sieve, a nice fine mesh sieve. I had that bigger one earlier, but the holes are just too big on that one. Let way too much stuff through. And I just kind of press. I want as much of the liquid in the interior pulp, the fine stuff, as I can get out. This is about half the cranberry mixture. I just can't get it all in at once and still have room to work, so. What I'm left with here is going to be mostly the seeds and the skin. And I'm working in my sink just so I can get down over the top of it. You don't have to work in your sink. And now that that's almost entirely seeds and skins, the rest of my cranberries. Okay, as you can see, this is pretty dense now and not a lot of liquid left in it. Mostly, it's just, like I said, seeds and skins. But what we're left with, and the part we're going to use, scrape it off the bottom because it's very thick. It tends to stick to the bottom of your sieve. I'm just going to scrape it away. What we're left with is this nice, thick, smooth cranberry gel. Alright, this is my microwave obviously, and I've got here a small spaghetti squash, and I'm going to put it on a plate. And you can see I've cut a couple of slits here and there to help give the pressure someplace to go, and I'm going to nuke this on high for about 5 minutes or so, and to get it cooked. It's a lot easier than to cut into a whole spaghetti squash. They tend to be very hard. I find it's easier to cook them first and then cut them open. So that's what I'm going to do. Still feels quite stiff, so I'm going to rotate it and turn it. Anyway, whatever was down was up, and I'm going to give it another 4 minutes. Now these can take up to 12-15 minutes depending how big they are. go. Ah, I can tell it's nice and soft now. That's what we want. Okay, now my squash is a little hot, so I have to be careful here. Just have to go around that little button at the bottom. There we go. I just need to get rid of the seeds and keep the stringy part that is the spaghetti squash. Just getting rid of those seeds. This is the small bowl for my food processor, and I've got it on top of my digital scale because I want to know how much squash I have here. Weighing something like this is usually a lot better than trying to measure it in a cup. You could let this squash cool if you want and make it easier to work with. I'm just impatient today. There we go, 11 ounces, perfect. Alright, now for every ounce of squash that I am using, I'm going to use about half a teaspoon of granulated swerve. I'm going to put that right on in there with it. Ooh. Now we're going to take this to the food processor. Now we're going to puree this till it's mostly smooth. Very good, very good. Nice and smooth. Now I'm going to add to this, remember this was 11 ounces of spaghetti squash. I'm going to add to this 5½ ounces, or roughly half the amount, of our cranberry puree. And while I'm at it, roughly 21 drops or so of my Easy Sweets, that's the liquid sucralose. Spaghetti squash has a mildly sweet flavor and not much other flavor of its own to begin with. And of course the cranberry is going to come in, it's just going to completely take over. It's kind of what we want. There we go, the last little bit of mixing. And there is our cranberry dipping sauce. It has got just the right amount of sweetness, just the right amount of tartness, and is definitely something that you can put on your turkey. Well, that's our cranberry sauce. Now, I will admit I'm having a little bit of a difficulty figuring out the nutritional information on this because how we processed the cranberries, we first cooked them without sugar, and then we smashed them up and got rid of all the seeds and the skins and everything. I'm not really sure how to count it. The best I can figure is for every ounce, which is about 2 tablespoons, is about 9 calories. A good chunk of that's going to be the fiber from the spaghetti squash, of course. And so that makes it probably about 3 carbs at a guess. I have no clue. If somebody out there has a way to figure out the calories on that better than me, please let me know. But until then, I'm just going to be enjoying my cranberry sauce. Now you can find this recipe and many others at my website, kitchentableproductions.net. I'm wishing you a happy holiday and enjoy the new year.